Pochettino is just the guy who found out that his ex broke up with her current boyfriend, and he's posting all of these, gym pictures on Instagram.
I just can't see a scenario where he's going in to those meetings and being reprimanded in any way and taking any of it on board.
I feel like it's more likely we'll pick up more injuries than it is that we'll have a fit squad by the end of March.
I have never felt so disengaged with this club as I do right now. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Crowing Cockerel podcast. I'm Mark, I'm here with Graham and Thom, and for the first time we've got a special guest here at Cockerel HQ. Warm welcome to the host of Poddenham Podspur podcast. It's Iain. How you doing, Iain?
I'm very good. I'm suffering in Spurs land, but we're all here, all walking and talking.
Welcome to the therapy couch.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's crack straight on. Yet more misery this time at Old Trafford against Manchester United. What did you think, Iain? What do you reckon? What was going on there?
I thought it was a depressing watch, and if I'm honest, sorry to bring bad vibes to your podcast straight away, but I didn't think we showed much throughout the game entirely, even before Romero's red card. I didn't see much that really spoke to me. The green shoots that we've been hearing about recently, I didn't see it. I thought Man United were all over us from basically minute one. We saw Mbuemo's shot. I thought it was really poor. I can't shake that feeling.
Yeah, it's a horrible when you watch a goal back and you feel like it's faster in slow-mo than it is when he actually hit it.
Yeah. Well, I was meaning in the 30th second or 45th second, he had a shot.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah.
One long ball, wasn't it? One long ball, got it in midfield, and do you think Romero's sending off has sort of covered over the fact that we weren't that great? We're probably getting into the game a little bit more by the time he was sent off, but the Romero incident has obviously overshadowed anything in that game. And it's almost been exaggerated how much we were in the game beforehand.
I personally don't think it was a red, if I'm honest. I do think it changes the game a little bit, but I think we could have come back into it more than we did. I don't know if he meant it, but it was Casemiro, so you never know. It was a Brazilian on the end of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And did it cover up any issues with the game throughout? I think so, and I think it's going to be just another excuse for this team and for Frank moving forward. Now we don't have him for 4 games. That's something that's lingering in the back of my mind.
Yeah. I remember after the Liverpool game, wasn't it, where we obviously had, he got sent off as well, and Xavi, wasn't it? Xavi got sent off early on in that game. And we said at the time that it meant that was basically just a free hit for Frank in terms of the criticism that you could really apply to him, because, okay, you're now down to 10 men. Again, it was a similar sort of time, actually, wasn't it? About 35 minutes in that game as well. And we're probably never going to win that game now with 10 men. You can't really expect it. So it's just, you chalk it down, another defeat, and you move on. And any sort of criticism that you could really bring his way is almost null and void after that.
Okay, so I sort of agree. I think the difference here is, though, that this whole thing around Romero kicked off before the game, where he put out that social media post. So the spotlight was already on him. And for that to then happen in the game the way it did, and we were totally under the thumb. But at that stage, we weren't losing the game. The goal came, 5 minutes after? So you can use it as an excuse. But I look at that situation and go, Romero said what he said. Thomas Frank had the press conference afterwards where he intimated that it was handled internally, and I don't know about you guys, I thought he felt quite spiky in those.
I think Romero handled it internally. I think Romero. I mean, I can't imagine Lang and Frank being in an office and Romero being particularly worried about them giving him a talking to. He's just been given a massive contract, hasn't he? Been lauded, and I think it was a bit of a please sign for us, and we'll make you captain and all that kind of thing. And I think he knows he's in a very, very strong position, and it's suggested, isn't it, by the reaction to his social media posts. And it did make me laugh that he obviously made the post straight after, 5 minutes after the window closed. So that was planned. He was thinking, I'll get this out. And all the players liked it, including Conor Gallagher, who's only been there 5 minutes and was part of the transfer window to say that, yeah, no, it's absolutely disgusting. No one else is coming. So I just can't see a scenario where he's going in to those meetings and being reprimanded in any way and taking any of it on board, really.
But that's my point. I think that this, where you could give an excuse for the game, I don't think it lets Frank off the hook because he makes the social media post. Frank apparently deals with it internally. He then does that against Man United. It looks like Frank is not in control of that situation. It looks like Romero is sort of going out on his own, doing his own thing, defying the manager. And we've even said sort of earlier on this season, sometimes it's looked like Romero's gone, you know what? I'm just going to do what I want in this game. I'm going to put myself up front as a centre forward. It really has felt like he's not towing the party line.
I have a very different take on that. I actually think that I think we were pressing very aggressively, especially in the first part of the game. And I think that Romero's sort of going in there is a little bit part of the game plan. We were hounding United and leaving pockets of space behind, but I think they were told really go at them in the first third of the game. So I think that actually, if you want to talk about culpability for Frank, I think that Romero's red card was maybe an extension of the sort of mindset that they were told to go in with into the game. But that's just for me.
Yeah, I think the red cards wasn't
It's
in
not the
any way
worst
not
one
a
you've
red
ever
card.
seen, is it?
No, and he's tried to spin out of pressure,
Yeah.
and he's overrun the tackle, and the whatever we might think about Romero and the context of squad building and what the squad feels about Tottenham Hotspur at the moment or whatever, is that in isolation wasn't the worst thing
Mm-hmm.
that we've seen from any player ever. If it was given as a yellow, I'm sure it would have been shouted out that why wasn't it a red? But you've seen those given as
Yeah.
yellows. They're not always a red card. I think it's difficult to argue what it was going to be. But it wasn't like he flew into a tackle, for example, like he did against Brentford on the halfway line, where he
Yeah.
was lucky to get away with it, really.
It wasn't as brainless. I don't think it was as premeditated. Was I mean, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. It was an honest attempt, like you say, to go for this aggressive press to get stuck in, and he mistimed it. It didn't feel like it was malicious, or like I say, that he was going in to do him. And I think actually his reaction afterwards kind of suggests that as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was a genuine attempt, and he did seem genuinely apologetic for leaving one on him.
Is that not more a sort of a? See, I saw that as a bit of an admission of guilt.
I know,
As it- as-
but no, I think he did feel guilty for it. But that's what I'm saying. He didn't, like we've seen it so many times with Romero. Any opportunity he gets to lay one on someone, he's going to take it. And he's had so many brainless. We've said before with the yellow cards. We said earlier in the season, so many of his yellow cards are needless fouls on the halfway line just because he fancies hammering someone.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't mind it if he was sort of taking one for a team and stopping a dangerous attack. But his yellow cards are very, very rarely like that. And the same with this one. I think it was a genuine attempt. I don't think he was kind of necessarily going to do him, but he's obviously mistimed it, and he knows after the event what he's done, and so he is kind of feeling genuine sort of remorse about what happened. But it's just obviously terrible timing, and we talk about optics all the time on this show. It's just horrible, horrible timing for that to happen to him.
So, Ian, what's your take on Romero generally?
I'm glad you asked that, actually, because I had it running through my head for the last couple of days. Like, what's going on with him?
Yeah.
He's out in in social media posts. He's getting now sent off. He's got more yellow cards this season than last season. There's I don't want to call it a disciplinary issue, but there's something else going on behind the scenes with him. And part of me thinks it's actually, bear with me on this one, it's actually maybe a good sign. Because if he was checked out and he wanted to get out, why would you even say anything about the direction of the team? Why would you go out there and cause a stir? You would just tell your agent, get me the hell out of this place. You wouldn't be showing direction and calling out the things that you think you need as a club. You wouldn't be putting in the effort in and in matches, but he isn't. He's going the opposite direction. So I actually think all of this is it's not a great picture, but I think paints a fairly positive picture from a Spurs fan's perspective that Romero isn't looking to necessarily jump ship. He wants to make this situation better, and this is his style of doing so.
Is it not a worry that since we've made him captain, it feels like his judgment's got worse?
Well, again, this is like his view of leadership, right? It doesn't mean it's good. It just means he's trying to apply it.
But do you think Romero trusts his teammates? Because to me, this is what it looks like to me, is that Romero is a proven winner. He's won the World Cup. He is a quality player. And it just feels like he has to almost make up for the shortfall of the team as a whole. That's the kind of the feeling I get from him. He doesn't trust the players he's got around him. That's why he's so upset about the lack of investment that's going on, because he can see what's there, and he doesn't see the quality that is on the pitch with him to get to where he feels the club should be at.
Do you mean in an ideal world where they're 100% fit, or a situation where they're run
I think
ragged?
both.
Because
I
they're
think
very
both.
different
I mean,
situations in terms of trust.
yeah.
If he doesn't trust them because they're exhausted, that's one thing.
So
I
you're
just
thinking he's maybe taking on his leadership role is I'm going to go the extra mile because I know where everybody's at. Look, I think that's a really interesting take. I just feel like we're constantly looking at a player, and maybe it is for the right reasons. Maybe it is because he's trying as hard as he possibly can. But this level of the game, you have to be sort of thoughtful in the choices that you're making, because in a blink of an eye, as we saw, he gets a red card, and at that point, the game's gone.
I mean, let's be really clear here. The game wasn't gone at 0-0. I do think I think we can put it in the context of our season as it is. I think we're probably all watching that and thinking, "Oh, great, we're not getting anything out of this anymore." But actually, at 0-0, you are not out of the game,
Sure.
and even at 1-0, you are not out of the game. It's not inconceivable to get back into a game with 10 men.
But none of us felt like that was going
No,
to
no,
happen, and
but
not
the
with what
game,
we had on the
yeah.
bench.
But my point is, you shouldn't be looking at a game and thinking we cannot get into this. And I watched, and I felt that there wasn't a lack of effort, and I've not felt that during the whole season. I don't think the players have given up at all, and I do think they are putting what they can on the pitch. We are so stretched at the moment that when you're down to the 12 fit or 11 fit players, or 10 now, isn't it? Because Romero suspended for 4, Doggy's out, and we're in that situation, that they're just going to be knackered, absolutely knackered, and they're going to slow down. And it's a sort of almost self-fulfilling prophecy and doom spiral, isn't it? But I didn't look at it and say, well, they're not downing tools. What I think my concern was during the rest of the game was that we never looked like we were going to get back in the game, because I think we had one shot after Romero was sent off, and that was a snapshot from Xabi, wasn't it, that whistled past the post, which wasn't created by us. It was a misplaced pass across the box. We don't look like we're going to get up the pitch at all. And we have watched Spurs teams that even with 10 men, we can still create, And I'm interested, obviously, in that you listen to an awful lot of podcasts doing what you do. So what is the general view with, your podcast and what you're hearing around, the Frank situation and how he sets up the team, and how much sympathy is there out there?
It's mixed. It's almost like this idiot in charge had nothing in going his way. That's almost like the bottom line, right? Like he's not good at this job, and he hasn't been helped by situations that have transpired. That's what I think the bottom line is. That there is sympathy and an acknowledgement that the injury crisis is a crisis. That it is bad. That we didn't support him with transfers or even loans in January, which
Yeah.
I forget which pod said it. It might have been said by Jack and Rule the Roost yesterday, but via Rosa from Hometown Glory, that's what January's for. It's a crisis situation we're in, so you make crisis signings, whether they be loans or transfers, and he didn't get that. He has had no help. We're worse off. But I mean, if you look at the early period of his reign, or early to mid, whatever, there wasn't enough to show you that he had the chops and the ideas to be a Tottenham manager. And as you said, Graham, What did we show to try to get back into the match in a way that wasn't just trying to run a little harder? There was no idea, there was no plan, and that's what we see time and again in the Premier League, less so in Europe. So I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
where I think generally the fan base is.
And you're right in the sense that in the transfer window there wasn't enough support. Given what was known, certainly by the end of the January transfer window, you could understand it a little bit at the beginning, couldn't you? But by the end, we've got another 4 or 5 injuries, I think, uh,
Mhm.
major injuries, and there still isn't anything coming in at the end of the window. But he hasn't once even made any sort of suggestion that he feels that that wasn't the right decision. Now, I appreciate that it's unlikely that an employee criticises an employer, but let's face it, managers do, don't they? And they come out in their press conferences and they say things that are clearly suggesting that they wish that a situation was different. But he doesn't seem to be there at all, does he? He's a very, very toe the line and toe the corporate PR.
You'd you'd have to go back to his Brentford time, I think, to really understand whether or not that is him or just this situation that he's in. We've seen managers sacked for criticizing the board this year, and if he feels
Mm.
like he can turn it around, maybe he's seen what's happened with Amarim, what's happened with Maresca, and he's thought, "I'm gonna keep my head down." And
Keep my
maybe
head
by the end
down.
of the
Yeah, exactly.
year, things improve, the end of the season.
But, one other thing, theory that I've seen a number of times now is, of course, that he wasn't sacked after the West Ham game when I think the calls for his dismissal were loudest. Um, he's only got a draw at Burnley, who have lost every game since, including against West Ham. Um, Part of the reasoning that he's still got the job is because there wasn't an interim that they felt suitable to bring in, and now he is the interim. They've basically say, well, you're going. They're almost behind the scenes done an Ange and said, well, you've got till the end of the season, but that's it. Um, because we were just discussing before we came on the fact that there will be a podcast released tomorrow with Pochettino having a pretty in-depth interview again. Basically, I think putting his CV back in the intro. He and I wonder whether the fact that he is so open about his love for Spurs and constantly saying how much he wants another go. There's something going on in the background.
I cannot see any world where that doesn't happen this summer. I cannot see any other manager because it's so toxic right now, and like there's no way Frank survives the summer. Like, is there a version of events where he does? I cannot see how that's possible.
No, you underestimate the incompetence of Tottenham Hotspur. Pochettino is
I
just the guy who found out that his ex broke up with her current boyfriend, and he's posting all of these, gym pictures on Instagram. That's
Yeah,
what he
yeah.
does every time.
I I I mean, there is a bit of that. There is
He's
a bit of that,
flexing.
isn't it? But the whole situation is now so fractured, and there isn't a lot of imagination, I don't think, within the Spurs hierarchy. I wonder how much there's this nostalgia aspect, is that things haven't gone right, and they've made all these statements about changing the way things are. Let's face it, if Spurs are in the Premier League, and I think they probably will be, let's be honest, but we're
I
only
mean,
finishing.
that's more confident than I am right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
But you're not going to get an Alonso, are you? You're not going to get an elite manager that
no,
that would be seen as elite.
but also we've done that. I think that's my point about this is that we've done that. We've had Mourinho, we've had Conte, we've then gone down the route of getting this great up and coming manager that's doing wonders at a lower club and giving him that promotion that he deserved. Well, that hasn't worked either. For me, it's not even about whether Pochettino is able to do it or not. It's a PR exercise. Get the fans back and engaged. Because for me, again, we were just saying before the show, I have never felt so disengaged with this club as I do right now. Honestly, I am so distant with what's going on right now. It's just everything is just a joke off the pitch, on the pitch. It's a nightmare. So do something to get the fans back engaged with the club. And to me, that is bringing the hero back in.
Iain, you're based in the States, so do you do you get even more of sort of the Poch echo over there? And is there any sense that sort of, you reckon that might be the way it goes in the summer?
I can't speak to that, I'm afraid. From the people that I watch Spurs games with, I think they'd love it if he were to take over again. But there's no real noises about it from what I can tell in the US press. But I agree that it would be a PR exercise to get Poch back in. But part of me thinks they'd have to tie it up before season ticket renewals for that to have any real substantial effect. And honestly, the biggest PR exercise you can have is getting a good profile fit that wins games. So we'll see. And will Poch want to manage in the championship?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's a fantastic question. And I think that leads on to where are we with how dangerous the situation is at the moment. 6 points above relegation, 15th in the league.
It's real. I mean, it's real.
Mhm.
And we were looking at, I mean, obviously, we've been talking about this February as the difficult 4 fixtures. We're halfway through. We've got 1 point. We've got
Which is
Newcastle.
1 point more than I think a lot of people thought we were going to get.
Well, yeah, maybe. But let's face it. I mean, we've got Newcastle midweek. And then, of course, the North London derby. I'm not sure we're massively confident that we're going to get too many points out of those 2 games. But you look at all the games that we've been saying all season, the fact you can't win games at home is a real problem, because when you're down there struggling, that's what they always say, isn't it? It's like, right, okay, you've got these home games that you can really try and concentrate on. But if you haven't even got them, you look at all the fixtures, you think, where are these points coming from?
We have to be able, surely, to get 12 points, 12 to 15 points out of the fixtures left.
Yeah, I mean, but it's based on no logic, though, is it? It's not based on any. It's just based on blind hope
So
and
let me
optimism.
let me put some logic behind it. The Newcastle game on Tuesday, I think it's a like for like situation. I think we can go into that thinking that they're having problems, we're having problems. And I do think the fans are turning a little bit in the right way. They are supporting the team, and I think there's an opportunity for them to put on a bit of a display. I think Solanke and Xavi are starting to form a bit of a relationship, and if we can get on the ball, keep 11 players on the pitch for more than 70 minutes, try and not get anybody injured, I think we're going to be very competitive in that game. And then after the sort of Arsenal game, you start getting a period where we're now 3 weeks in the future. We should get some players back. And as we get towards March and hopefully April, then our injury situation should reduce reasonably significantly. And I don't think you can look at our squad, even with Maddison remaining out, and look and say, well, we can't beat Crystal Palace at home. We can't beat Leeds at home.
Yeah,
We should be then in a situation where we're winning those games.
I
Fair?
well, look, what you've done there is paint a sort of almost like a best case scenario. We understand our situation now, but in a few weeks it will be X. Only problem is we have thought the X was going to be something different to what it is all season, and all we've done is sort of trend downwards. And this issue that we've had about sort of Frank not being supported in the window, with everybody going, yes, but what if we get more injuries? Well, guess what happened? We got more injuries, and we're now in a worse position. And look, I think as poor as we've been aside, and as little faith as I have in Frank at the minute, I have zero faith in our medical department. I don't know what's going on over there, because we don't seem to be able to keep players fit when they're coming back from injury. We seem to be picking up injuries more quickly than we did even last season, where we had a torrid time. So, Graham, I think it's a really nice idea to look forward with such positivity. But I think we have to be genuinely worried that at the minute I feel like it's more likely we'll pick up more injuries than it is that we'll have a fit squad by the end of March and get ourselves out of trouble. I think if we get into April and we can confidently say that we're not going to get relegated, and this is horrific, that's a win. and I'm not confident we'll get there.
Wow.
I
That's
agree
grim.
with Graham. I do think we'll pick up just enough points, and I do think that the returnees will contribute to that. My concern is whether or not we dip into the relegation zone before then, and what that means for confidence within the squad. Like, I think if we keep our necks above water, like we are now, like 6, 9 points, fine. But as soon as we hit that 17, 18, then I'm gonna start getting really scared for the sort of composure of the team, because there is a mentality when you're battle hardened almost as a team, right? You expect to go in and fight your way out, and you're going to be going into these situations, and you are a player who expects to be playing for a bottom half or bottom third of the Premier League team. There's a sort of mentality that goes along with it. Ours are going in with the mentality that they are top third players, and they're very different. There's different things you need to do to make sure you put points on the board.
I don't think it's helped us by how well we've done in the Champions League, because all of a sudden you've got this juxtaposition between we're the top fourth team in Europe, but we're definitely not. So it's I feel that sort of. I think it's a really good point. I think what you're saying about mentality, and you put that alongside the whole Romero situation, you combine that with potentially dropping into the bottom three. That could happen in the next sort of 3 to 4 matches.
It can, but you can't. But the other thing you've got to bear in mind is that for us to drop into the bottom three or be real relegation trouble, West Ham need to carry on their recent very good form.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, there's a possibility that they do that, but remember they are in the relegation places, so there's no logic as why a team in the relegation places suddenly becomes a
But
very
what
good
they've
team.
done is they've gone out in January and improved their first team. And they've got the confidence now and the momentum that they may not win every game, but they could certainly, the difference between what we pick up and what they pick up could be enough to make it really dangerous.
Yeah. But then you've also got Forest there as well, who aren't in good form. So, you need a situation which is perfectly possible, and I do understand this, that Spurs carry on being atrocious, but also the 3 teams below us pick up more points. And by more points, I mean significantly more points, given the point per game average needed for
But the
teams
trouble
down
is,
the bottom of the table.
but it's only West Ham that's 6 points, right? I think Forest and Leeds are only 3 points behind us.
Yeah.
But
they all need to be better than us.
2 wins is not a lot.
But that's a win.
Yeah,
it's not a lot.
It really, we cannot. I get what you're saying, but it's not
But are we
like we're
seriously
talking about.
suggesting that we're not going to pick up? Okay, you could look at the next 2 games and think, oh crikey.
No, but have you not been watching this season?
I have.
We drew to a terrible Burnley team. We just about drew to an even worse Wolves team. We lost against West Ham.
Lost to Forest.
Got thrashed against Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Yep.
So where are we picking up these? I mean, I know we've
So
already
are you
been
suggesting
through it,
I'm looking at the fact we got to play Forest at home and it's okay because we'll beat Forest at home? But actually, there's a bigger problem here is because they can catch us by beating us at home.
Yeah, there is. I look at every single game, and there is no such thing as a 3-point banker anymore for Spurs, because we've proven it. There has been so many games we've played this season where you thought, right, okay, here we go. They're a rubbish team. Let's go. And we've failed every single time. So for me, all you can do is hope and pray that we have got the quality, and there'll be individual sparks from individual players enough times between now and the end of the season, like Romero's been doing, like Van der Ven's been doing. Xavi's clearly got quality. If we can keep Solanke fit, those individual players have enough quality to provide enough moments that will hopefully grab enough points for us. But in terms of the general quality of the play, it's non-existent. So I don't think we can really pin our hat on that at all.
Join me in your time machine of choice, whether it be a DeLorean, a TARDIS, whatever. And we're going to go back to Leicester's title-winning season when we were chasing them. Every single club, we heard this, wanted to beat Spurs because they didn't want us to win the league, right? We heard this. Chelsea, they talked about playing out of their skins to make sure that we didn't get points. Flip that on its head, and you've got the possibility of putting Spurs down. And I think that's what we're up against. You're up against teams that want to relegate us because they think it would be funny, because they would think it would be impactful, because it takes out one of the big 6. I think that's a real challenge that we face in normal seasons, let alone.
And I mean, just to beat myself up as well. The other thing that a lot of the players will have is the Van der Bens, the Romeros of the squad. Is that, let's be honest, if Spurs get relegated, they'll just go to another club.
Mm.
It'll be a stain on their CV, but it's not as if they're going to be playing in the Championship next season, is it? And like what you were saying, Ian, about being up for the fight. And these players obviously signed for a club they thought were going to be competing at the top end, and that was the hope of everybody, not at the bottom end of the
And
table.
then it becomes into the issue of relegation clauses too. But that's
Yeah, exactly.
catastrophizing. That's a
Yeah,
that's a
yeah, yeah.
podcast for this summer.
So part of the thing that we do every week on the podcast is really since about the fourth week in is the Frankometer. We wrote a strongly worded email to the club. They haven't responded and they haven't replied and they haven't acted upon it. So it's only a bit of fun, and obviously where we are at the moment, as you probably tell, it's a bit irrelevant. So where are we in the context of where we are at the moment? Are we Frank in or Frank out?
Shall I start? I will. I will carry on saying what I did last week. To me, I don't think you can judge Thomas Frank right now. I don't think it's fair to judge him right now. He's literally got no players to pick or do anything with. So we may as well just carry on regardless. Frank in.
Ian, what do you think?
I was going to wait till the end, like the good podcaster who reviews podcasters that I am. Well, let's keep this loveless marriage going.
There we go.
Fair enough. Tom?
That's two for Frank in. I'm still Frank out, boys. I genuinely think that Frank has lost the dressing room. I think I've seen enough sort of offshoots of Romero's attitude and the way he's reacting to stuff. You're already hearing potentially about sort of cliques in the dressing room. I don't think Frank can handle him. And if you can't handle your captain, when, let's face it, we're in dire straits at the minute, and if you're getting fractions within that dressing room at the very point we need people together, I think it's dangerous. So I've said before, I like the guy, but I think he's the wrong fit, and I'm very much still Frank out.
Yeah. And I do see the situation in the sense that, is it his fault entirely, the performances recently? Not sure it is. But I go back to what I said for the last few weeks, is that, do I think perfect Frank ball is what I want Tottenham Hotspur to be? And I do not want that to be, because I don't think he'll ever be a possession based, front foot, dominate game type of coach. And that's really what I'd want as a Tottenham manager. I've not seen anything in the whole season from the start to now that suggests that that's the way he wants to play football. But also, I think that actually a change is almost as good as a rest now. I don't think he'll be here next summer. So I'm even more Frank out than I probably was previously. Right, should we liven it up a bit and
Yeah, let's.
and have a bit of fun to get over the.
Come on, Tom. Take us out of this misery, Tom.
All right then, boys, let's have a Tom's teaser to get us out of this funk.
Play that jingle.
Tom's teaser.
Right. So this is great to have another person on the pod to play along. So Iain, as you may know, every week we have a Tom's teaser, and what we've been doing is trying sort of a different quiz format every week. And what we know for a fact is that Graham is awful at this. So currently, Mark is in the lead 13-6. So what we're going to do today is, I don't mind if, obviously, we'll all play individually, but I'm going to make a rule. If Iain outpoints Mark, I'm going to give that win to Graham, and Iain comes in as a ringer.
Absolutely. Is that absolutely fine? I totally agree with this new rule. But so basically, I can bring in a guest, and their points, if they're better than mine, then I can sub that in. So that seems perfectly reasonable to me. Absolutely in the spirit of the Tom's teaser.
Don't get your hopes up, Graham.
So this week is going to be a game of top, middle, or bottom, and I'm going to use players who have played for both Spurs and Man United. So this is going to be their combined stats. So thinking about how many games, how many goals, how many assists they've got for both those teams. So the three players I have chosen, unsurprisingly, are Dimitar Berbatov, Michael Carrick, and Christian Eriksen. Sorry, Zeki Friars, you didn't make the list. I'm going to ask you to put them in order, top, middle, or bottom. So you might need a pen or paper or just put it in your brain. So, Iain, as you're our guests, let's start with our first one. I want you all to write your answers down. I want honesty here. And we're going with matches played, top, middle, or bottom. Those three players I mentioned, Berbatov, Carrick, Eriksen, where do you think they stand with the number of games played combined for United and Spurs?
Carrick, Eriksen, Berbatov.
Okay.
Right, okay. So I'm going to go Carrick the most, Eriksen second, Berbatov third.
Mark?
Yeah, I agree. I think that sounds good to me.
It should sound good. You're all right. So you'll get 3 points. Well done. Just so you know, Carrick 483, Eriksen 410, Berbatov 220. So goals. Mark, I'm going to start with you. Put them in order. Combined, United and Spurs. Go.
It's got to be Berbatov, Eriksen, Carrick, surely.
Okay. Iain, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree. Berbatov, Eriksen, Carrick. But because you've picked this, it makes me worried that that isn't actually the order. Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, Graham.
Yeah, Ian's worried me, but I'm going to stick with the original and just agree with everybody. But yeah, there's fly in the ointment coming, isn't
Yeah.
there?
See, the only thing I would say is that we have a history on this pod of underestimating just how good Christian Eriksen's stats were for Spurs. But I don't think he did that much for United, really.
And
I will say I have locked in your scores.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's
How
fine.
many
here
seasons
it comes.
was Berbatov in the Premier League as well? Like, what, 4?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, not many.
Yeah. But you will get 3 points. Well done.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was Berbatov with 92, Eriksen 77, Carrick 23. So this is great. We're all square at the minute, which is lovely because I do have a tiebreaker coming up. But for assists, Graham, we'll start with you. What do you reckon across both United and Spurs? What's your order? Top, middle, bottom.
So I will go Eriksen, Carrick, Berbatov.
Eriksen, Carrick, Berbatov. Mark.
Yeah. I mean, that does sound eminently sensible, doesn't it? It's got to be right. It's got to be right. Eriksen, Carrick, Berbatov, got to be right.
Eriksen, Carrick, Berbatov. Iain, where you at?
Eriksen, Berbatov, Carrick.
Ooh.
Okay, I can reveal that Mark and Graham, you only get 1 point. Iain has maxed out with a full 3 points. Absolutely,
Well done, Iain.
Eriksen.
Yeah.
Thank you for my
Well,
point.
Berbatov picks up a bunch of assists for us because he was assisting Robbie Keane a lot when he was with
Yeah,
us.
true.
Absolutely.
I was just going on the basis that he just wasn't at Spurs or really Man United as long.
But Man United banged in goals.
Yeah.
And he was such a classy player.
And look, the numbers were Eriksen 98. It was close. Berbatov 39, Carrick 33.
You see,
Wow.
Carrick just
So
wasn't
it
that
was
type of player.
close.
He was.
No.
More a
No,
6,
yeah.
wasn't he?
And this is why we needed an expert to come and join us and pull Graham up from the bootstraps.
You're welcome.
And somehow give him a point out of nothing. Graham, say your thank yous.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Anytime. I did it for you. When I heard that was on the line, I put in the extra 10%.
And it does mean, Graham, that you are now on 7 points. Mark, you're on 13. And that was this week's very special edition of Thom's Teaser.
Thom's Teaser.
So let's move on to the Predictions League. Really, really successful attempt over the weekend. How many points did we all get, Mark?
We got nothing.
Yeah.
We all said we were going to get a draw, and we didn't. We lost 2-0. So it remains as it was last week. That is with Graham scoring 19. I've got 23. Thom has 34. Newcastle away then, midweek game. Obviously, we are not good enough to have a weekend game this time round because we're already out of the cup. So only Newcastle to worry about. What do we think? How do we think we're going to do?
So Newcastle haven't won in the league since early January. I think like January 7th. They've lost Anthony Gordon. They've lost Joe Linton, who always has a game against us.
Doesn't he? Terrible player,
Yeah,
but
he always gets away with
like
something.
prime Neymar
Yeah,
against
well,
us.
this is it. I mean, how he gets away with the tackles he
Yeah.
does when Romero doesn't with the tackles he does is amazing, isn't it? But there we go.
But that said, we are pretty shit. And but they're coming off a loss against Brentford, so I think it will be a draw. I think it's going to be 1-1. And who's going to score? Let's go with an own goal.
Own goal.
Yes.
Wow.
I don't think any of us have done it. Dude, if you've called that, I'm going to bax you $13. Anyway, my turn. Yeah, I also think this might be a draw. I think it has to be a draw. And I don't think we've got the breadth of squad or the recovery time to put in a sort of a barnstorming performance. If we win it, it'll be lucky. But I'm going to go for I'm going to say 2-2. I think we haven't got the cover at the back at the minute, but I'm going to try and put my faith in Big Dom. So 2-2 and Dom to score.
Graham?
Yeah, as I intimated earlier, I actually think that it's an opportunity for us to get points. And I think that we're playing a team that is in as much disarray almost as we are. And I just think that there's enough quality around and enough of a desire within the team to get something. So I actually think they're going to win, and I think we're going to win 2-0. And I think Solanke will score us a goal.
Wow, very nice. Yeah, I'm struggling. I mean, we've got, again, one less defender now with Romero going to be suspended. We've got a doggy out as well, of course. Yeah, I can't see us doing anything. I just can't see it. I'm afraid I'm going to say we're going to lose by 2-1. And I think our goal is going to come from, let's say Gallagher.
Right, I think we're going to end on a positive Spurs, and we're going to get Iain to fire away.
Now everybody, haven't you heard? Here's a guy that can polish a turd. When you think you've got nothing to give, he'll stay positive. Positive Spurs.
Coming in as a ringer again. Well, first of all of this will be over one day. It'll the heat death of the universe, etc. But in the shorter term, we've got the Champions League. We're still doing well. We could possibly play, Club Rouge or somebody there. It's a bit of a respite. White Hart Lane under the lights, all that good stuff. And the other thing I'll say is that after Newcastle, we do have, a 10-day break before the North London derby. So who knows what will happen in that period of time. Maybe they'll find some stem cells to inject into Kulusevski's knee, or who knows? Like, we don't know what's happening with Udogie, etc., right? Like, maybe there'll be something that we don't expect, a player back. Let's try and stay positive.
So yeah, what we're saying is we've got a weekend off coming up,
Mm-hmm.
and then it will soon be over.
Yeah.
So
We have the possibility of helping Arsenal bottle the league, and against us,
Yes.
come on.
I can't think of anything more Spursy. Now, on that note, I'd like to say thank you very much, Iain, for coming on and being part of this chaos and madness. And I hope we didn't bring you down too much.
No, thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. I miss doing more panel show type podcasts. It's often just me behind the microphone. So it's good to get out and see some faces, even if I'm in my room.
Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And as Iain said, it won't go on forever. It can't go on forever. Things always come in peaks and troughs. And hey, we'll get back at some point, I'm sure. So let's all look forward to the midweek game against Newcastle and see what happens. Come on, you Spurs.
come on, you Spurs.
Come on,
Come on, you Spurs.